So I have a question for you guys. If you had a magic wand and you could wave it and magically tomorrow all the dealerships would close down, would you do it? Now I'm sure 90% of you guys watching this video would be like, hell yeah, screw dealerships. We don't need them. Dealers need to be closed down, and you would wave the wand. And if you woke up tomorrow morning, the sun would be shining brighter, the birds will be chirping, and there'll be fair and transparent car deals all across the land, right? Wrong. The exact opposite would happen. Prices would skyrocket. You would get screwed over more from regular people than you ever would from a dealer, and there'll be twice the amount of junky cars on the road than compared to today. Now, this video is going to be a spicy one, so make sure you watch the whole video through because I'm going to be dropping a lot of truth bombs about dealers and regular people, but I'd love to hear in the comment section because I want to make this my most commented video ever. I think a lot of the stuff we're going to be talking about is going to be absolutely hilarious, so let's get into it. Now, it's no secret that everybody and their grandma hates dealerships. They'd rather get a root canal or a colonoscopy than go out and buy a used car. That's pretty bad. Now, even as a dealer myself, I know that there are a lot of scumbag dealers out there, but there are some pros and cons with dealerships. First, we're going to get into the legal part. What is if you buy a car from a dealer and from a regular person? Well, if you buy from a regular person, even if the person seems genuine and they give you a good car and then winds up being crap, you have no legal recourse to go after that person. It is 100% as is. Even if the customer swore to you that the car was good, everything else, they don't have to do that. On top of that, the title. Dealerships have to actually guarantee title. The general public does not. So the burden is on the actual buyer, not the seller. So you will get screwed way more buying from regular people and car flippers compared to actually working with dealerships. So if you buy from a dealership, you will get some turds, but a very small margin compared to what it is dealing with the general public. Dealers are held to a much higher standard. So we have to make sure the car passes a safety inspection. In different states, you have to make sure that the car actually passes emissions, it has all of its airbags, things like that. But more importantly, it has to have a guarantee of title. So if I sell you a car and I don't get you the title, you can go to the DMV and they will either, one, tell the dealer to buy back the title, and if they can't get it, the DMV will actually issue a title for that vehicle no matter what. You just have to file a complaint. But you have some sort of recourse. Also, if I sell you a car that didn't have a smog or emissions, that the frame is completely bad and I didn't disclose it to you, or I get a bad Carfax and you didn't get it signed, you can go back to the DMV and it'll force the dealer to actually take back the car. And even if the dealer doesn't want to, the DMV can give you the bond number for that dealer and you could sue them and get all your money back. And it actually works in less than 30 days if you go after their bond. So you have some sort of recourse when it comes to actually buying from a dealer, but with the general public, you have zero. So let's talk about buying a car from the general public as well as dealerships. Now, if you want a car with no issues, no problems, believe it or not, you're gonna have a 10-to-1 ratio of buying a better car at a dealership compared to somebody on the regular streets. I know that sounds crazy, but it is true. But more importantly is, if you don't wanna buy a car that has any issues or any problems, people tend to go to the dealers. But if dealerships don't exist, where are those cars gonna go? Now, here's a little fun fact for you. 87% of the people in the United States are not mechanically inclined. So that means that there are going to be more cars out there with issues and problems than there are with clean cars that don't have any problems or any issues. So what's going to happen? Well, if dealerships are not around to buy those crappy cars or take those crappy cars in on trade, fix them up and put them back up for sale, they're just going to flood the market because you're going to put your crappy car up for sale because you want to buy a new clean one. That's going to put even more pressure on the market, forcing the prices down. And all the cars that are clean, no issues, no problems, that are working well are going to go for all the money and even then some. Now, this is the funny part. Like I said, less than 87% of people don't fix cars. So that means that car flippers and auto repair shops are literally going to rule the world when it comes to the car sales market because they will buy all the cars, fix them all the way up, and ask all the astronomical prices. Now, I know a lot of you guys think, oh, well, that's what dealerships do. They just rip you off and do all this crazy stuff. Dealerships are just like mortgage companies when it comes to financing. If you find some idiot that has a house with gold-plated toilets and wants $1 million for it, but the appraiser says it's only worth about $500,000, guess what? You're only going to get a loan for $500K. It's the exact same thing for a car. And this is why I hate people that are stupid that chime in saying that, oh, they're marking up the car too much. If the car is worth $50,000, if I get maybe 110% LTV, they might allow me to do up to or $60,000 of a $50,000 sales price. That's all I can do. I can only go up a little bit to cover sales tax. I can't go double or triple. The only time that was available was during the pandemic, and all those idiots basically paid $50,000, $60,000 over MSRP. But typically that's the standard we're held to. So I can't sell you that car for more than what it's actually worth. But if dealerships are no longer regulating that, who is? The regular consumer. And if you leave the market to supply and demand, like I said, the supply of really nice cars is going to go down, which means demand is going to go all the way up. And then all the crap cars that have multiple issues, they're going to go down very, very low. So your car that you think only has a few problems is going to be worth half of what you originally thought. So this is what I talk about, a fleeting market, that this is what's going to happen when dealerships were to disappear. So let's talk about finance. What is if you were to buy from a regular person compared to a dealer? Now, if you buy from a regular customer or person, there's no sales tax in some states, so that's a good thing. You'll save a lot of money. But the problem is it's much harder to get finance to buy cars from private parties compared to dealers. And plus, some people don't want checks. They want cash. They don't have to deal with the banks and mailing and titles and waiting for that stuff to come. So it's a little bit harder to buy those cars from the general public. Plus, they're always going to put cash buyers first. So all of a sudden, now you're left trying to get financed on a car because you like it, and they're competing with cash deals. It's the same thing with houses. Whoever comes in with cash is going to get the car that they want. Now, when it comes to dealerships, they have deals with banks to give that bank X amount of auto loans every single month. So if they're getting 100 auto loans from a dealership, majority of those are going to be good, a handful are going to be bad. So they're going to take the good with the bad, and it's going to breed more volume. When you're dealing with regular consumers, they don't know because they could be good, could be bad. So the merit on what your deal is judged with is far more scrutinized compared to a dealership. As well as that is the dealership will give you more amount finance. So if you have good credit, but you don't want to take any money out of your pocket to keep it there, the dealership can do, 120, 130% of LTV. So you don't have to take any money out of your pocket, where compared to the bank, if you buy from an individual, they may require you to put 20, 30, sometimes 50% down because they don't trust the vehicle. Where when it comes to dealerships, if the dealership gets a call back that the car has issues, the banks will actually force the dealer to fix it if they're under recourse. This is a big thing that a lot of people don't know. Banks actually put pressure on dealers to fix their cars because they don't want to give you loans if the cars that you're selling are absolute crap. So it behooves the dealer to take care of the customer and fix the car. So this way the bank has higher odds of collecting their money from the customer. So therefore you'll have a much better experience if you finance cars through a dealer and actually get more for it. I know it sounds crazy, but that's the way it works. Now, when it comes to lending, especially subprime, if you have bad credit, dealerships are a key part of this puzzle, because if you have bad credit as a regular person and you try to go get a loan, they're all going to tell you no. It's almost impossible to get a car loan if you have bad credit, if you just walk into a bank. But with dealerships, they have multiple specialized banks to help people that have bad credit. So majority of the people out here right now with, 500 credit scores and multiple repos are absolutely screwed. But believe it or not, those people can still get cars if they go to a dealership, because a dealership can paint a picture saying, hey, you know what, this guy, he's learned from his mistakes. He's ready to get back in the saddle. He wants to start making payments and fix his credit. And so sometimes we can talk the banks into actually working or doing something in your behalf. But for a regular person, they're not going to vouch for you. So let's talk about something absolutely hilarious: service after the sale. If you buy a car from somebody off of Craigslist or Facebook and you drive it away and all of a sudden the check engine light comes on, there's some sort of issue, the car is making a weird noise, most times when you call them, they're going to tell you, I don't know, kick rocks, F off, whatever the case may be. Some dealerships, I know there's some that will not help you, but a majority of them will help you. You have an issue, come back by, take a look at it. You can go back to an actual facility and see if there's something wrong with the car, that they can check it out. They may not be able to fix it, or they'll give you some money back, or they'll actually maybe cover the parts. They make you cover the labor. There's going to be some sort of service after the sale that you get with a dealer compared to buying from the general public. So we made it to the funnest part of the video. Who will rip you off more? The general public or the actual dealerships? But if you made it this far, I'm sure you guys realizing that we're going to be leaning more towards the general public. Now, once again, if you buy a car from a dealer and you have issues, you have problems, you have a physical place that you can go back to multiple times and talk to them. No dealer wants all negative reviews. If you apply a right pressure and the right amount of pressure and not be an asshole, more than likely dealerships will cave in and either fix your car, help you, do whatever they can to take care of you. On top of that, if they sell too many bad cars, banks are no longer going to work with them. They're not going to finance them. So at the end of the day, you are far less likely to get screwed at a dealership compared to an actual regular person. Regular people, once again, There is no type of arbitration for selling you a shitty car. There is no legal ramifications if I sell you a shitty car. There's no legal ramifications if I give you a title that you can't register. There are no legal ramifications if you drive off and there's a check engine light and I tell you to go pound sand. There is no ramifications for anything. There is no nothing when it comes to buying cars from the general public. It is 100% as is. And when you take dealers out of the equation and that demand explodes and the supply of good cars goes down, you think prices were high during the pandemic? You have no idea. It'll be absolutely insane. It'll be the Cuba of cars. If you're trying to buy a piece of chicken, it's now $100. If you're trying to buy a 98 clapped out Honda Civic, it's going to be $5K. If you want to buy something that's a 2010 Honda Civic, that's going to be $20K. If you don't believe me, you can go around all these other countries. If there's any clean cars that work, that function, that don't have the same amount of influx as cars do in the United States, they will tell you. You can go to South America and you could pay, I think, $20,000 for a nice, I believe, 95 Toyota 4Runner. If it's clean, has low miles, and no issues. That's how crazy it is. So that's the market, what would happen if dealerships were to disappear. Now, if you disagree with me, that's fine. Please put in the comment section. But more importantly, just don't say, oh, dealerships suck, I disagree with you. Tell me why. Because this is the thing that I want everybody to know is, yes, dealerships suck. Some of them do. But at the end of the day, we are far more regulated than the general public. And like I said, nobody will screw you faster than friends or family. I don't know if you guys have heard that terminology. The general public is even worse. If it would just be a free-for-all. So if you've seen Mad Max and everything else like that, just imagine the car world, and that's exactly what would happen. But I'd like to thank you guys so much for watching. I got some really great car flipping videos coming out because a lot of you guys have been hitting me up on like, I want to learn more about buying, fixing, and selling cars. So the next few videos I'm going to be doing are going out in the field and to the auction, buying some cars, fixing them up on camera, and then selling them to see what we can get. And hopefully Facebook Marketplace will be kind to us. But anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure you follow me on Instagram at Lucky Lopez, and we'll see you next video.